Hi guys, we are going to start with some September 11th stuff this week. This is one of the first books that we're going to start with. It's called Fireboat. It is a story by Maria Kalman, and it tells a story of September 11th from a different perspective. We all have heard of what had happened on September 11th. We know of the lives lost, we know of the tragedies, but we didn't really hear much about behind the scenes, what was really going on. So this story goes over what really was going on that day, and a group of people that were pretty heroic, and the things that they did to help others and to save many lives. So as we're listening, I want you to start thinking about the people involved, what they did, and what heroic actions they took that day. So this is Fireboat. It's the heroic adventures of the John J. Harvey. So you're going to hear that this is the fireboat is named John J. Henry. And I want you to think of what role that John J. Henry, the fireboat, had during this tragedy. The Empire State Building went up, up, up. Babe Ruth hit his 611th home run in Yankee Stadium. The tasty candy treat Snickers hit the stores. So this is kind of placing our setting, telling us the time in which the story is taking place. The George Washington Bridge was suspended elegantly across the mighty Hudson River. Champion Penley Calling of Blarney won Best in Show at the Westminster Kennel Club. On a hot and jazzy night, the word hotcha was invented. And on a sunny, fresh day, the John J. Harvey Fireboat was launched. There were 12 fireboats in New York City. The Harvey was the largest, fastest, and shiniest fireboat of all. So this fireboat, the John J. Henry, was a pretty popular fireboat known by many. If you're at home with a family member, you might want to ask them if they know what this fireboat was. Maybe if you have a grandfather or a great uncle or somebody in your family that you are close to that you can speak with, they might know a little bit more about this too. I'm actually going to share a photo of my great uncle who actually has pictures of him on this fireboat, which is pretty cool. It had 5 diesel engines, so it could go 20 miles per hour, which is pretty fast. 8 pipes that could shoot 16,000 gallons of water per minute, equal to 20 fire trucks. A completely round steering wheel, a control dial in the pilot's cabin, many brass nozzles housed in the gold room, a very nice can to oil all the squeaks, ropes called lines, and lots of levers, buttons, and buckets. There was a pilot and a crew ready in 2 minutes to fight the fires. There were a brave group. And there was a dog named Smokey, who did not put out the fires, but had many nice spots. The Harvey went up and down the river, fighting fires. It fought fires at the bustling piers. The piers were the places where ships and trains brought all manner of merchandise to be sold in the city, like wood and cotton and bananas and bubblegum and everything. So just so far, what are you thinking about this fireboat? Can you tell its importance quite yet? It fought the fire of the great ocean liner Normandy. Sometimes the Harvey just went out to shoot water in celebration. Many years passed, a new captain had come on board, Bob Lenny. He and his crew fought many fires. But New York was changing. The Twin Towers were now the tallest buildings in New York City. The piers were closing. 1995. The city no longer needed so many fireboats. The Harvey was considered old and useless. It sat in the water for 5 years, waiting to be sold for scrap. And then a very surprising thing happened. A group of friends were eating at a restaurant called Florent. So now I'm getting an idea on this page. It's 1995. The boat seems like it doesn't have much usage. It's pretty old. And maybe it's not going to be used for anything anymore, and there's this group of friends that are being introduced. What do you think might be the relationship between the group of friends and the fireboat at this point? They had heard about the fireboat and decided something. Let's save the Harvey. Let's buy her. Everyone needs a fireboat. We won't put out fires. We'll just have fun. And they did. So there's their relationship. They decided to buy this fireboat. And what do you predict might be the reasoning that we're being introduced to this group of friends buying this fireboat? They took it to the cattle ship repair yard in Staten Island. Even there, they said, she's old. It'll be hard to fix her. But the owners said, fix. So they fixed beautifully. They repaired the two propellers, making them new and shiny with coats of brass. Brass doesn't rust. They repaired the holes with steel plates and covered the places where the rivets wept. They scraped barnacles and seaweed off the hull and painted her with a shiny coat of red paint. So they took her old boat and kind of repaired her back up, get her back and running, looking good. And once again, the Harvey was on the water. Tim, the engineer, kept keeping things running smoothly. Huntley at the wheel, Jessica, the assistant engineer at the controls in the noisy engine room, Andrew welding, Chase helping, John fixing, Tom cooking, and Bob Lenny watching over everyone and being very proud. So here's your group of friends. Here are your characters who had purchased the boat, put money into restoring the boat, and it's up and running, it's on the water. Still thinking about the predictions of what's to come. How might this fireboat be involved with the tragedies that happened on September 11th? They made friends with the only other fireboats on the river, the Firefighter and the McKean. Everyone said, the Harvey is a nice old boat, but she can never be used to fight a fire. Never. But then, on September 11th, 2001, something so huge and horrible happened that the whole world shook. It was 8:45 in the morning, another beautiful and sunny day. This is one of my favorite pages in the book because it's different. You can see a noticeably different tone at this page. We see colors, we see pictures, we see things going on. But when we introduce this time, the whole page is just gray. There's no pictures, there's no colors. It kind of sets a tone. We know something terrible is happening here, and we can sense that because of the illustrations. 2 airplanes crashed into the Twin Towers. Crashed into these 2 strong buildings. The sky filled with fire and smoke. The buildings exploded and fell down to the ground. Many people were hurt. Many lives were lost. The news spread. The city had been attacked. Everyone was terrified. But people were brave. The entire city sprang into action. Firefighters and police officers and doctors and construction workers and teachers and cooks and children and parents. The mayor was strong. He said, "We will all work together. We will not be broken." What were the people of the Harvey doing when the planes hit? Bob Lenny was trimming hedges. Tom was drinking tea in his kitchen. Chase was walking his dog Radar. Tim was reading the paper. Andrew was welding. Jessica was writing a story. John was working. Huntley was reading David Copperfield. The Harvey was snoozing at the pier. They all had one thought, get to the Harvey, and they did. They called the fire department. "John J. Harvey, ready to help. How can we help?" The answer came, "You can't help fight the fire, but you can ferry people to safety." This is a great page too. If you want to have a conversation at home today with a parent, you guys weren't around for this time in 2001. But this page tells you each and every person where they were and what they were doing at this time. Most people can remember exactly where they were, what they were doing. So maybe you want to ask somebody at home that is home with you today if they remember where they were when this had happened. But suddenly an urgent message came loud and clear. "John J. Harvey, where are you? We need you. We need you." The water pipes were broken and buried, and the fire trucks that had raced to the scene could not pump water. The firefighters attached hoses to the Harvey. The Harvey fought the fires alongside the McKean and the Firefighter. So this old ship, which they said could never fight a fire, was fighting this fire, and they were depending on it. For 4 days and nights, the Harvey pumped water. The crew took turns sleeping. People brought supplies. Fuel, sweaters, gloves, pizza, sandwiches, and coffee. They worked and they cried. They fought the fire until it was under control. So they stayed on this boat for days, just trying to fight this fire. Finally, it was time for the Harvey to go home. Everyone on the boat had never seen anything so terrible, and they had never felt so proud. The Harvey was a hero, and everyone knew it. The Harvey won an important award. At the ceremony, the audience cheered, and some even cried. Now the Twin Towers are gone. Something new will be built. The heroes who died will be remembered forever. The Harvey is back to being a very happy boat, not scrapped, not useless, not forgotten. A proud and plucky friend, and all that's left to say is Hatcha and thank you. Wait a minute, there's something more to say. The friends of the Harvey had found a little tugboat to adopt. Doesn't everyone need a tugboat? The end. So this book talks about this fireboat. Remember the name of the fireboat, the John J. Harvey, and the heroic people who decided to step up and put their lives in danger to help. And without these people coming forward and helping, what would have happened? I want you to think and kind of try to predict, if they didn't step up and try to help, what are some things that might have not happened? What are some things that did happen because they stepped up? Think about the way that people perceived this fireboat and the people who bought it. Well, what did they say about the boat? What did they call the boat? And by the end, what had changed? What we're going to be doing the next few days is we're going to be talking about the differences between this book and two other books I'm going to read to you. You're going to work on an activity where you're going to answer some questions and you're going to do a comparison. So I want you to jot down some things that you're thinking about, some questions that I had asked throughout this book, and keep that for your assignment that's yet to come.